What is up, my friends? The good news, your weekend has officially started because it is Friday evening's Anfield Agenda News Roundup. My name's Craig and I'm going to do my best to keep you right up to date with where we are in this summer's transfer window. Now, obviously, during this video, we're going to discuss the Barcola situation, but we'll also be talking about Endrick, Cody Gakpo, and some hints maybe about where Liverpool are heading from a financial perspective, as James Pearce sat down with somebody from Liverpool today to talk about the club's financial future, and we're going to give you a few bits from that as well. You know, we want to know your thoughts though, my friends, so let us know in the comment section. Drop a like if you enjoyed this video, and of course, I'll be back here tonight at 8:30 for the Late Night Agenda 100 to answer any questions that you guys have, and of course, keep you up to date with the very latest news. So, without any further ado, let's get cracking with the news. So we're going to start off with Fabrizio Romano and his reporting, which I sincerely believe is a little bit behind the times, but he said negotiations continue between Liverpool and PSG for Bradley Barcola. Nothing is agreed or even at the final stages as of now. Barcola, top target for Liverpool, and he wants to move as revealed since May. Never in doubt. No breakthrough in talks yet. Now, honestly, I know this feels rich coming from me to say this against somebody like Fabrizio Romano, who has infinite amounts of stories that he's gotten right, but everything that we're being told and every journalist that we're speaking to believe he's a little bit behind the times on this one. But ultimately, it will lead to Liverpool signing Barcola. I think talks are far, far further along than he has the information on, or perhaps that he's willing to come forward on. Like I said, I'm not here to shout down Fabrizio Romano. I'm just here to tell you about the information as we have it and how confident we are in that information. There is one part of this that I do have to say to you guys, we've been finding a little bit more on, and that is the price point of all of this one. We said to you guys that we thought it would be around 115 to 120 million euro all in. My apologies on that one. It seems as if the 115 million euro will be the initial payment, and as I mentioned, they are working on the add-ons. Now, I don't know as of yet what those add-ons will get up to. If we get that information, we'll of course bring it straight to you, and we may have it by this evening. But with regards to the deal, it is way further along than a lot of people are making out in the media. But ultimately, does it matter to you? Maybe you're impatient. Maybe you want the deal to happen now. If I was a betting person, and I am, I would say that we will hear something about this in the next day or two, and it will all go from there. Now, I wish I could sit here and list off to you the very, very, very top tier credible journalists that have given us the information, as well as some others, but I don't want to do that because I can't throw them under the bus. All I'm going to say to you is this deal will happen. It will happen very shortly, and some patience is just going to have to be required on it. Much like Florian Wirtz and Isak in the summer, we gave you guys what we had on that one as well, and as much as people were getting a little bit upset about how long it was taking, like we said, there was nothing to be concerned about. The deal will happen. With regard to the likes of Ibrahim Mbaye and Ezri Konsa, I don't have much information on that. As I've always said, I'm not afraid to tell you what I know. I'm not afraid to tell you what I don't know. But on Barcola, you can take it that he's a Liverpool player. These deals will be ironed out, and they are working on the bonus structure, as we've been saying to you. Now, not in these conversations. Obviously, I can't give you the finer details of it, but that's where we're at with Bradley Barcola. Lots of journalists, and I'm talking about tier 1 journalists, think that this announcement could come either tonight or over the weekend. But like I've said, it will get done. We've nothing to be concerned about with Bradley Barcola. With regard to Mbaye and others, I don't know as of yet where we are with that. We know that Liverpool could sign him for 40 to 50 million euro. We know that we're interested, but after that, I don't have the information to add anything to the conversation. Let's move on now for a minute to Cody Gakpo. This report here says an interview with Toby Alderweireld around why Liverpool would perhaps sell Gakpo to Spurs. He said, I don't understand why Liverpool would sell Cody Gakpo to Spurs because he's a primary player for any team. He's big, but he's quick and can play on the left and on the right, coming inside, go direct to goal. When I watch him, he's always in the box and the ball is on the other side of the pitch. He's a very good player. Maybe after last season, Liverpool feel a bit hurt by how they played under Arne Slot and they want to change a little bit with a real makeover. Now they've appointed Andoni Iraola, but I think even for the Netherlands, we have seen how good Cody Gakpo is. If he goes to Spurs, I think it will be a good signing because don't forget, he's a Premier League winner. He performed very well the year before last season when they won it. He could make Spurs stronger and Liverpool weaker, then they're fighting for a Champions League place. So I don't know how it all plays out with Gakpo, but if it's just Barcola that comes in, like we've always said, we don't think there's any way that Cody would leave. But If Liverpool look to bring in another forward, whether it's Mbappe, whether it's somebody else, then of course there is a chance Gakpo leaves. And I don't know the number. James Pearce, somebody else will give you the number on what Liverpool would accept for Gakpo, but you would imagine it would have to be a substantial fee, upwards of 65 million pound. Now, there is a report out there that Rock Nation are working on a loan move for Endrick to the Premier League, with Real Madrid in agreement with the option following the signings of a couple of other players like Diomande. Now, I've no idea whatsoever if Liverpool are involved in any conversations. I'd be a little bit surprised if they are after the situation with Diomande and Rock Nation, but a couple of Liverpool fans out there on social media hoping that we are in the mix for Endrick. I don't have anything to add to the conversation, so if you guys do, let me know in the comments. Maybe you think he'd be a good fit or not. I'm not a huge fan of loan moves unless there's an obligation or an option at the end of them, because ultimately if Liverpool were to sign Endrick on loan, he had a great season, then we just hand him back to Real Madrid and we're back to square one. It just doesn't make sense to me in the longer term.
You know that style of football with Russell Martin, because he never used to change. He didn't change at Southampton, didn't want to change at Rangers. If he does that in League One, those Leicester fans won't take to it. And let me tell you something, it's a different league. You got to mix your game up. You can't keep playing out from the back when teams are pressing you and stuff like that. It will be difficult.
But that's the problem, because teams won't press them, they'll just sit off.
Yeah, but then you're not going anywhere then.
In pre-season, I've watched the games played Genoa last week and they got beat 1-0, but they were brilliant. What he is doing, and Boyd, you touched on it, will he learn from what he's done? We used to say pass for the sake of passing when he was at Southampton in the Premier League, and you're coming up against a Liverpool and Arsenal, a top team that press you, still do it. Watching the games in pre-season, if they press, he has been missing them out. I go back to League One. Everyone will respect this Leicester team. They are far superior to probably 95% of the team. So what they're going to do, they're going to sit on the edge of their 18-yard box, and I expect that today from Northampton Town. How do they find a way of breaking down a low-blow block? That's what he has to find.
V1. Every deal has a version the public sees, and a version that's actually happening in private. Tonight, we're told, those two versions of Bradley Barcola's future have started to converge, and they're converging faster than the outside noise suggests. Because while phone-in shows and social timelines have been treating this as a maybe, one day, situation, the people actually in the room describe something with far more shape to it. Not finished, not signed, but no longer distant either. So let's build this out properly, where it stood last week, where it stands right now, and why the gap between perception and reality has quietly narrowed. V2. Okay, let me jump in here because timeline matters a lot with this one. 10 days ago, internal conversations only. No figures exchanged, no representatives in a room, just Liverpool's recruitment staff doing what they always do, quietly mapping whether a move is even realistic before anyone picks up a phone seriously. 5 days ago, that changed. First informal contact, player side to club side. Not a negotiation, a temperature check, and from what I'm hearing, the response on that call was warmer than Liverpool expected. 2 days ago, this is the part nobody's reported yet, a second, more structured conversation took place. Different tone, less, would you consider it, more, what would it take? That's the shift. That's why I'm using the word closer tonight, and I don't use it lightly. V3, right, but let's slow down and stress test that, because closer gets thrown around a lot in this market and it doesn't always mean what people think it means. What actually needs to happen for this to become real? 3 things, in order. 1. Liverpool need internal sign-off on valuation. Not just, can we afford him, but, does this fit the profile we're building at that position for the next 3 years, not just next season? 2. There needs to be alignment on structure. Is this a straight transfer fee, or does it involve add-ons tied to appearances, European qualification, that sort of thing? Clubs move at very different speeds depending on which of those 2 roads they're on. 3, and this is the one people skip, the selling side has to actually want to sell at this point in the window, not just in principle. Willingness to sell in July and willingness to sell right now aren't automatically the same thing. And this is where it gets interesting, because on all 3 of those points, the picture inside the building is more advanced than what's circulating publicly. Valuation discussions have moved past the exploratory stage. Liverpool's football operations department has settled on an internal ceiling. We're not naming a figure tonight, because the number itself is still moving depending on structure, but a ceiling exists, which tells you the, is this affordable, question has already been answered internally. V2. And here's something worth adding. Payment structure talks have started. That detail alone tells you a lot. Clubs don't discuss how a fee gets paid unless they're already assuming, at least provisionally, that a fee is going to exist. I'm not saying here we go. I want to be very clear about that. But I am saying this has left the rumor being tested stage and entered the mechanics being worked out stage. Those are different stages, and mixing them up is how bad information spreads. V3. Which brings us to the part of this story that actually explains the mismatch with wider reporting. Most outlets covering this are working off surface level signals, a source close to the player, a friendly comment in an interview, an agent spotted somewhere. That's not nothing, but it's downstream information. It tells you sentiment. It doesn't tell you mechanics. What we're describing tonight comes from the mechanics layer, valuation, structure, willingness to transact. That layer moves quietly and usually moves first. The public layer catches up once there's something concrete enough to leak. That's typically why a deal can look early stage, from outside and, well advanced, from inside, at the exact same moment. Both descriptions can be true. They're just measuring different things. V1. So where does that leave Liverpool specifically, in terms of their broader transfer plan? This has never looked like an isolated interest. It fits a pattern, added pace and directness in wide areas, competition for game time rather than a guaranteed starting role, a player still building his ceiling rather than one who's already peaked. That profile has come up repeatedly in Liverpool's recruitment conversations this window, and Barcola fits it as well as anyone they've discussed. V2. One more thing before we move on, and I think this matters for context. Liverpool aren't the only party aware that talks have progressed. Other clubs monitoring the situation have noticed the same shift in tone that we're describing tonight. That doesn't mean a bidding war starts tomorrow. It means Liverpool don't have unlimited time to convert progress into something concrete, and people inside the club know that.